Jungkook's unexpected collapse during interview. What's really happening? Was this a sign of something more serious? Could Jungkook's condition be worse than what we've been told? The world held its breath when news broke that Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, suddenly vomited and collapsed in the middle of what was supposed to be a brief, controlled interview with select journalists at his hospital in New York. It was meant to be a simple update, a reassuring moment for fans who had been worried sick about him. But instead, what unfolded was a terrifying scene that has now sent shockwaves across the internet. Security immediately intervened, blocking the cameras and rushing to his aid. Nurses and doctors stormed into the room, their faces tense with urgency. Those who were there reported a look of sheer panic on Jungkook's face, his body shaking as he struggled to stay conscious. But the most alarming detail? His face was pale, his breathing uneven, and for a few moments, he seemed completely disoriented. What exactly happened? Why did Jungkook suddenly fall ill at such a crucial moment? Was this just a temporary setback, or is there something much deeper, something the world hasn't been told? Was this just nausea, or something worse? Initial reports suggested that Jungkook had been experiencing intense nausea and dizziness leading up to the interview. Some insiders even claimed that he had barely eaten that morning, his appetite completely gone due to lingering post-surgical complications. A close source revealed he wanted to push through, to show ARMY that he was okay. But his body just couldn't handle it. He was trying to be strong, but it was obvious that he was struggling from the start. Jungkook had been scheduled for a short, controlled session with journalists, no more than 10 minutes, just a few basic questions. The entire event was supposed to be private, monitored by his medical team. But just moments after the first question was asked, Jungkook suddenly grabbed his stomach, his expression tightening in pain. Then, without warning, he leaned forward, gagging uncontrollably. Cameras flashed as gasps filled the room. One journalist later described the horrifying moment, saying, "At first, we thought he was just coughing. But then we saw him clutch his stomach and suddenly, he started vomiting right in front of us." The whole room fell silent. It was terrifying. Jungkook collapsed back into his chair, shaking, barely able to hold himself up. His breathing was ragged, and for a brief second, he seemed completely out of it, his eyes glassy, unfocused. The interview was immediately shut down as medical staff rushed to his side. The room was cleared within seconds, leaving journalists stunned, their cameras forced down by security. But the biggest question remains: why did this happen? Doctors sound the alarm. Jungkook's recovery may not be as smooth as we thought. Doctors have since come forward to explain what may have happened. According to medical specialists, Jungkook's body is still in an extremely fragile state, and any form of stress, physical or emotional, could easily trigger such a reaction. One expert suggested that this could be a delayed side effect from his previous surgery. Post-surgical nausea is not uncommon, especially when combined with stress and exhaustion. However, the fact that he collapsed afterwards suggests that his body is still struggling to regain full strength. Other doctors have pointed out that his emotional and mental state could also be playing a role. Jungkook has always been someone who pushes himself beyond his limits. Even in recovery, he might not be allowing himself enough rest. The pressure to appear strong for fans can sometimes cause patients to ignore their own body's warning signs. Could this be a sign that Jungkook's road to recovery is longer than expected? Jin and RM arrive at the hospital in a panic. Did they know something we didn't? The moment news of Jungkook's incident spread, his fellow BTS members immediately mobilized. Jin, who has been Jungkook's strongest emotional support throughout his hospitalization, was the first to arrive at his bedside. The second Jin heard what happened, he dropped everything and rushed straight to the hospital. He was visibly shaken. An inside source shared, RM followed soon after, his face tense with concern. He reportedly demanded answers from the medical team, pressing them for details about Jungkook's condition. Namjoon is always the calm one, but this time he looked really worried. He kept asking, "Is he okay? Is this normal?" Jin, meanwhile, was seen holding Jungkook's hand, whispering to him softly, trying to comfort him even though Jungkook was still too weak to respond. Witnesses say that tears welled up in Jin's eyes, but he quickly wiped them away, determined not to break down in front of his younger brother. Jungkook has always looked up to Jin as his rock. Seeing him like this, so weak, so vulnerable, it must have been devastating for him. Fans react. #StayStrong Jungkook takes over the internet the moment ARMYs heard the news. Social media exploded with concern. Within hours, #StayStrong Jungkook was trending worldwide, with millions of messages pouring in. Some fans were angry, questioning why the hospital even allowed an interview when Jungkook was still in such a delicate condition. Who thought this was a good idea? He should be resting, not doing interviews. One fan raged on Twitter. Others were heartbroken, sharing emotional tributes and messages of encouragement. Jungkook, please take your time. Your health comes first. We will wait for you, no matter how long it takes. BTS's official accounts have yet to make a formal statement, but insiders claim that they are now considering tightening security even further, preventing any non-medical personnel from seeing Jungkook until he is fully recovered. What's next for Jungkook? Will he recover fully? Doctors have confirmed that Jungkook is now in stable condition, but they are keeping him under strict observation for the next 48 hours. He has been advised to avoid all forms of stress, including media exposure, until further notice. But the question remains, how much longer will this take? Medical experts say that full recovery could still be weeks or even months away, depending on how his body responds to treatment. Jungkook himself has not spoken publicly since the incident, but those close to him say that he is still determined to fight through this point, one insider revealed. Even after everything, he still smiled and whispered to Jin, "I'll be okay. Just give me a little more time." His strength, his resilience, and his unwavering spirit, this is what makes Jungkook who he is. And while the road ahead may be long, one thing is certain: Jungkook is not alone. He has his family, his brothers, and millions of fans around the world who will stand by him every step of the way. And when he does make his comeback, when he stands on that stage once again, it will be a moment the world will never forget. Let me know if you want more details, dramatic elements, or any other adjustments. Jungkook remains under close medical supervision following his sudden collapse and vomiting incident at the hospital. Doctors have expressed concern over his fragile condition, warning that any exposure to stress or overexertion could trigger further complications. His medical team has advised strict rest, restricting visitors and media access to ensure a smooth recovery process. The hospital has yet to release an official medical statement detailing Jungkook's exact condition, but reports suggest he is still experiencing nausea, dizziness, and general weakness. His previous surgery, which was initially expected to require only a brief recovery period, now appears to have resulted in lingering effects that require longer observation. Experts speculate that his symptoms may be linked to post-surgical complications, including gastrointestinal distress, dehydration, or even stress-induced physical exhaustion. Security around Jungkook's hospital room has been significantly tightened. Only select BTS members, his close family, and essential medical personnel have been granted access. Reports indicate that his management team is working closely with doctors to ensure that no further disruptions occur. All previously scheduled activities have been postponed indefinitely, including upcoming interviews, promotional events, and potential travel plans. Jin, who has taken on a protective role during Jungkook's recovery, has remained by his side since the incident. Witnesses within the hospital report that Jin has barely left Jungkook's room, assisting with communication between medical staff and ensuring that Jungkook receives the best possible care. RM, Suga, Jimin, V, and J-Hope have also been in regular contact with hospital staff, though their visits have been carefully scheduled to avoid overwhelming Jungkook during his recovery process. The global response to Jungkook's health scare has been overwhelming, with fans flooding social media platforms with messages of support. Medical experts have weighed in on his condition, emphasizing that while vomiting and sudden collapses are alarming, they can be part of a broader post-operative reaction. They urge the public to remain patient as Jungkook undergoes further evaluation. Jungkook's personal response remains undisclosed, with no official statements or social media updates. His silence has only fueled speculation about his true condition, though those close to him insist that he is focusing entirely on regaining his strength. The uncertainty surrounding his health has created widespread anxiety among his fanbase, as many await further updates from either his medical team or his management.